Hello fishing friends, this is Matthew with Outfishing 13 bringing you another reel service and repair video. I got something special today for my Zebcos. This is an old vintage Zebco 33. This is the kind with the small single rivet in the bottom, made in the USA. And it's still in great shape. So let's take a look at this. I'll show you how one of these works. I'm certainly not the pro on these. There's a lot of people that collect these, and they have a lot better examples than mine. But I'm going to show you how to service one of these and how the internals work and some things you can do to remedy little problems with it. So let's take a look. Let's get started. Oh, by the way, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you subscribe to my channel and give me a big thumbs up. Thanks. Okay, let me show you the features of this old Zebco 33. First of all, it's missing a sticker here. This sticker right here would have said Zebco or Zebco 33 on it. But it's long since gone. This reel is not a full metal body. It's got like a reinforced plastic body on it. It's got stainless steel front cover and a stainless steel back cover. The push button right here is made of that reinforced plastic. The handles are made out of the same material. It's got a nice little aluminum handle here. Altogether, this reel probably weighs about, I'd say about 5 or 6 ounces. It's not very heavy. So let me show you the buttons on this right here. This button right here is the clicker. It engages a louder clicker in there. Okay. It still has a little click on it. That little click that you're hearing is the anti-reverse. So this button right here, this is not really a button, it's a screw. And that's to tighten up the covers and keep the covers on there nice and snug. So to take your covers off, you need to just take and loosen that up. Okay. And it doesn't need to be very tight. This little lever right here is to disengage the anti-reverse. So if you push it up there, it disengages it so it can go frontwards or backwards. And you'll notice you don't hear that click anymore. So if you wanted to set this so it had a bite alert and you're fishing on the bank and you just had your pole in the pole holder, you might want to take and engage this right here and disengage the reverse. That way when a fish bites, there we go. So if the fish started to pull out, you'd hear that noise. Okay, let's turn those off. This little knob right here is the drag to either loosen it or tighten it. These drags right here weren't the best drags in the whole world, but they were suitable and they worked okay. Okay, so let's take a look in the front and take the front cover off and take the spool off. So you need to take and to open this up, this is the lock. You can use a screwdriver. Neat thing is you can use a quarter, a penny, a dime, or a nickel to take this apart. And just turn it a little bit to the left. Let's make sure this is loose enough. And take that off right there. Has a little drain hole in the bottom right there for draining water out. Okay, let me show you how this works. Now, the new modern Zebcos work a little bit differently. The spinner cone moves back and forth and pushes up against the case. These older Zebcos had an entrapment feature where it entrapped the line like this. So when you pushed on the button, it pushed this forward here, and it also pushed a thing that would disengage this little pickup pin. So let me show you here. Okay, so there's the pickup pin is engaged for picking up the line. And when you pushed in, there's two things that happen. Let me get this back around so you can see. When you pushed in, that pin drops down, you entrap the line, you cast, and when you let go, and then you start to reel, it goes around once, twice, and then 3 times, and it finally engages. But one of the problems with this particular reel here is this is a chrome-plated metal. It's not super hard metal, but it's chrome-plated. This is a hardened steel pin, but what happens is over time, right here, the line will dig into the metal. Now some guys will take and shave that off and get rid of that, but it never does help because you've got rid of that hard chrome plating. There is a fix for this, but it takes a pretty ingenuitive person to do it. And what it requires is actually taking and removing this little cup right here, and all you have to do is just have to take and unswage that, take it off. Then you can push this pin down in there and take the pin out. And then what you'd have to do is you'd have to come up here and re-drill a new hole that was up here away from where everything was worn out. See how this one's, somebody sanded it? You'd have to come all the way up to here and drill a new hole, and then move the pin over and also the swage, and I'll show you that. So that pin goes down like that, and then it has a little, the end here has a little screw on it, and that gets pushed in, and it holds that pin down. And as you turn, this pin does not move, just the outside does, and then it unscrews, and then it pops out just like that. So in another video, I have never done this. I've just only heard about the fix from a fellow on the Zebco Collectors Facebook page, and he actually was kind enough to send me some of his old stock and got me a new spinner cone that's in really good shape that I can use on my reel. And I'm going to do a video, and he told me a buddy of his fixed his by moving that. And what you have to do is you also have to move this swaged piece over far enough so that that pin lines up properly. And you have to be really careful to drill that hole at the proper angle, so it has to be at this angle right here. That hole has to be at this angle, pointing in this direction towards here. Okay, so let's set that aside. Let's take off the spools. You just have to loosen this little pin, screw, and push this little retaining clip over, and then the spool comes off. Now I need to make sure I loosen up my drag all the way. But you loosen that up, and then you can take the spool off. Okay, and basically the drag system is a little cam system right here on the spool. Okay, like I said, even if there was a way to rebuild it, I don't know if you could even find parts to do it. There's a little spring right here, that's the little clicker that when that clicks against those little grooves there, when the drag goes out, you can hear the drag being pulled out. But you can see this reel is in need of service. It's pretty dirty on there on the inside. So that's all we need to take off there. We don't need to take that all the way out. I might just for cleaning purposes. But there's a bunch of crud underneath here that we can clean out. Okay, next I'm going to take the back cover off. Just needs a little spin to the left and then wiggle it out. You can see how dirty that is. This plastic button right there pushes on this centerpiece right there. And that's what cocks the pin, and then the metal piece is there, and it pushes up against this line entrapment mechanism. Okay, so this has a metal gears here and a metal shaft. It's pretty strong and durable. It also has a metal gear down in here and a metal shaft. So if these get wet, they can get rusty because they're not necessarily stainless steel, but they are very durable because they're not just brass, they're steel. So it makes a very strong reel. But here's the problem with taking and servicing this and taking it completely apart. When Zebco made these, I don't see a way to take, in order to take this apart, you'd have to get this center shaft out. And what it is the way they made this is it's got a center pin here, and all the center pin for it is used is to engage the middle of there and lock the catch pin in place, that little pickup pin. But it's bent. The only way you could take it out would be to grab it with a pair of pliers right here and grab another pair of pliers and then bend this and straighten it out so that you could drop this pin out like that, and then you possibly take this out. But I think that this right here, I don't know if you could or not. So we're not going to worry about that. We're not going to be worrying about taking all these things apart and trying to get in there and clean this shaft out and re-oil it. It's got a little place to oil it right there. And so we're just going to clean this out as well as we can with some WD-40 and get all the grit and dirt and old grease out. And then we'll take and put it back together and grease it and oil it. But you can see the clicker, how the anti-reverse works right there, and then disengaged. It's like that. You can see the clicker, how the clicker works. You push that up and it engages a little spring in the back, way in the back there. Okay. That's your bite alert. This is how the little locking thing works. It's just got a little screw there and it locks the back plate in place and it locks the front in place with that little pin right there. The drag system, it's just got this little screw there and it screws this thing in and it moves a little lever that pushes out on that just a little bit, not a lot. But overall, it's a very well built reel. It looks cheap and inexpensive, but it's not. It's very well built. I mean, this reel right here is probably, somebody make a comment, but it's probably from the 1960s. All right, well, let's get it cleaned up and put back together. I don't think it's part. Yeah. So you back behind that plate. Clean it up good. WD, it just helps break up all that grime. Okay, we need to add some oil and some grease to this. So really the only place where we need to grease it is going to be on these gears here. Okay, we'll also put some grease here on the spool shaft. And that's really it. So let's use our good Lucas red grease. I'll put some grease on the main gear here. And on this gear here. Look at that. Ooh. Old fishing line or something. Put the handle on. Work that in. And I'll add a little bit more. That's good there. That'll be great. I want to put a little dab of grease on these. I want it everywhere though. I just want it mainly. So when I screw this on, it has some grease in there to keep those threads protected. Okay. Now I'm going to use my quantum hot sauce to lube up other things. I'm going to lube up this main shaft here. Put some oil in there. And crank it around, work it in. Okay, I'm going to oil up this right here, a little bit of oil there, a little bit of oil there, a little bit of oil on that, oil on my anti-reverse. I think I'm going to put some grease on my anti-reverse too. Made it quieter. That still works great. Oil down here on this spring. Okay. Alright, I'm ready to put the back cover on. I want to put some grease on this little piece. But we're going to put some grease right on this. And right there on that middle piece. Okay, we're going to put some red grease on this spool shaft right there. That's the only place it's really needed. A little bit of grease on that thread. Okay, we got this new thing here. I'm going to add, this is the new one. Oh, it's new to me. But we're going to add some oil right here. So we'll drop oil down on the inside there. I want to find my end of my line there. So I want to pull on and test the drag. There we go. Okay, all we have to do, keep this spool on, push that over, and tighten it down. That's all that keeps the spool on. Okay, we can put the spinner cone on. tighten it down. Okay, see how loose that drag is? Let's tighten it up. See how it works. It's okay. It's not, like I said, it's not the best. Okay, let's put it in here. Make sure the little drain hole goes towards the bottom. Line out. Yeah, that drag's good enough to find a pretty good trout for a bass. Tighten up my lock here. Just want to take that off and check it. It's moved out of its spot. And make sure it gets in the right spot. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to move that line out of the way for now. Spinner cone back on. Okay, wipe this down good. Okay, there you go. A classic 33 or vintage 33. This is at least 50 years old, and it probably lasts another 50 years. Anyways, thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, give me a big thumbs up. If you have any suggestions and you're a pro at one of these, please comment below. Let me know if I did anything wrong or if you have any suggestions. I don't know if I'll buy many more of these. I kind of like the modern ones better, but I have some other older ones. I have this one right here. The Zebco Rhino Tough. I need to service it. It's very similar to this one. There's a few things that are different on this one. I think this one has the more modern pickup pins. Yep. But I'm going to take this one out and fishing and let you know how it does. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.